Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Susan Lopresti Wellness, Mind, Body, and Soul. This is the podcast where we explore the highs, the lows, and everything in between when it comes to a woman's life, her health, and all aspects of navigating the midlife landscape. I'm your host, Susan Lopresti, and today I have a very special guest with me. I am so excited about having her on. And so let me jump in and just tell you, her name is Kathryn Perry, and she is a transformational coach, subconscious strategist, and creator of the Commanding Wealth process. With over 25 years of experience in mindset work, manifestation, and emotional healing, she helps entrepreneurs and visionaries unlock their innate power and create from alignment with their highest self. Kathryn is the founder of the free Commanding Wealth community on Skool, and that's Skool. And I'm also a member of that community with her. This is where conscious creators gather to shift their money mindset and to manifest with confidence. Join the community at skool.com, that's skool.com/commanding wealth 3578, or learn more about Kathryn at kathrynperry.net. So without further ado, Kathryn, welcome to my podcast. I am so excited and honored to have you on here today and to talk about this wonderful, wonderful modality that you've been a part of for many, many years.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I just love what you're up to. And I've had a chance to listen to a lot of your podcast and the people that you're running with. You guys are raising the level of consciousness in the world through our health, right? And through
Yes.
health and wellness and taking charge of that, but doing it in a way that, I have a belief that the more that we invest in ourselves, commit to our healing, whatever level that is, we're raising the vibration of people all around us. And so I think that you are one of the few people that understand that when we heal ourselves, we heal the world. And I'm just so grateful to be
Thank
on the podcast today.
Thank you, Kathryn. I appreciate that because I'm honored that you chose to come on, really. So
Thank
I'm
you.
very grateful. I want to start by asking you about the one command.
Okay.
I have the book and I bought it in 2007 or 2008. That was when I was first introduced to Sarah Lovejoy. And I know that you've always been with her in that community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I used to listen to the presentations at
Yeah.
my desk at work. I would make believe I was working, but meanwhile, I was part of this whole meditation thing. And I
Yeah.
sat in a cubicle and I used to pray that no one would come by and see me rolling my eyes up into my head. So, how did you get started on this journey? How did you meet Sarah Lovejoy? Were you friends at the beginning? Tell me your journey.
I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible because it's almost a 30-year journey.
Wow.
That I want to just roll back to before that. In my late 20s, I had a big psychic awakening. Like it was a big night of visions and dreams, and it unlocked all kinds of healing and psychic abilities. And it was completely overwhelming, like every channel open at once. And it was, I struggled for a long time trying to get that balance just so I could kind of function. A lot of times people have that and they go, oh, or people would think, oh, you have this big, great gift. Now you could just go in the world and go do your thing, right?
Yeah.
And it took a while because it just one, my identity had to shift, my gifts were opening up, I was learning so much. And there was a point where I said, yes, I know I want to do this, but I couldn't get free of my old career. It would be like it would just pull me back. The closer I would get to success, it would just start pulling me back. And I'd always had an interest in hypnosis and energy healing and all of that stuff, but I really didn't know how to put any of that together. And I still had a lot of my own healing and trauma. Fast forward, life took me to Seattle, Washington, And I said, I now want to really fully commit to figuring out how to make a living from, with these gifts and help as many people as possible. And I am a person that my intuition sometimes works before me, like before I know what's happening. And I was going through this stack of magazines that I had to go through that day. That day, now let me go through them. And I don't know if young people remember having stacks of magazines, because that's how we got our information.
Well, I'm not young, but I
And I
remember.
was just looking through all of them, right? And I came across some flyer that I had, and I went through it, and some like for a health wellness fair, and Asara Lovejoy's picture was there, and she was describing Reiki, and her picture, I'm not kidding, Susan, did this. Ooh, like I said, I have to meet this woman. And that was a big thing out of my comfort zone, because I work with public, but I'm not real comfortable with doing things for myself.
Right.
We met, and Asara said words to me that I'd never heard, and it was, "You are already a master. You just need some credentials and training in order to build a foundation that'll support that mastery." And so that's how Asara met. And I became a student at her hypnotherapy school. Soon I was a trainer. Then we were in business together, and we got to travel all over. And we had times that we came together, and then we kind of moved back to our lives. And Asara had started working on a particular training and invited me to take it. And it first was the first training that really taught us how to go into theta. And that reminded Asara of training that she had had like 25 years earlier, working with these incredible masters. And so things were already kind of coming together, and there's no straight line on these stories. So I just want to say that Asara was in a moment that was in the dark night of her soul, and said, never again. She had literally gone through almost $1 million of an inheritance and was flat broke. And she woke up just shaking, and it was terrified because the payment was due and she had no income. And she just said, "I can't believe I'm here again. I'm not doing this again." And then she just kind of, the statement came in, she was in theta, and she said, "I don't know how this problem is resolved in my favor. I only know it is now. And I'm just so grateful." And that was the start of it. And she immediately felt peace. And then it was just one thing after another. It became one miracle after another. And within 3 days, she figured out how to lease her house out, move into another house, and she had more than enough money to do it. There's so many, like I said, the story's so long.
Yeah.
But then she said, "Well, I need to go ahead and generate more money. And I don't know how I generate more money. I only know I do now." And I'm so grateful. And I called her and I said, "Hey, are you still teaching that class?" And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "I have a group in Canada that wants to do that." And that covered her expenses for 6 months.
Wow.
And that class is when she taught the first version of Commanding Wealth. And then I promoted her, and my life was changed from the first time she started talking about it. And I've known this woman at that point something like 15 years. And she started talking about all the principles about how our money beliefs are also they're the representation of our relationships, and our worthiness are going to determine the lens that we look through, right? Our belief system and all of that. And then how we can bypass all of that, not through a lot of hard work and repetition. We hear about affirmations and writing and journaling, and it has to be long and hard. What she figured out, because she's a master hypnotist and worked with all these incredible healing masters, was how to bypass the subconscious mind and go directly into where we're holding the programming. And I had an immediate result And I can tell you so many stories, and I'll share stories. If I start telling stories, me and you will wake up in the morning and keep talking about all these. Okay.
That's okay.
But
I'm sure it's very
yeah,
interesting.
I promoted a class, and while I was there, someone was at this meeting where only 4 people showed up to my meetup. And one of the ladies said, "Hey, do you ever travel to do this? Because I'm with a direct marketing company and my upline loves this. She has 27,000 people in her upline. Would you like to meet her?" Yeah. So we did a couple of free calls and got invited. And that's really what launched everything, because our first promotion there, like 3 people signed up, but 65 people showed up at the door to register. And Colorado just said, "Come on in." And we started traveling, and I joined the company. And together we started promoting the seminars and workshops. We had 3 or 4, and then she wrote the book, The One Command. And then we were able to launch out further from that. So this has been my journey since about 2005. But with Asara Lovejoy is my teacher and mentor and dearest friend in the whole world. Our daughters are friends and our grandbabies are friends.
Wow.
So
Is she still active? Because I don't see her on, I mean, I don't,
she has her website. She is in her 80s now.
okay.
Excuse me. And she's in her 80s now. And so mostly she will put together some small cohorts and do them, but she's enjoying her retirement
Wow,
right now.
beautiful,
Yeah,
beautiful.
but her daughter Eden Lovejoy has taken over more of the company and is managing the operations and things for her now.
Okay. Yeah, I think I got the book in probably 2008.
Yeah,
Because I know where I was in my corporate job and I could see myself sitting at that desk. So that was
yeah,
around 2008. And the book, I must have read it like 2 or 3 times.
yeah. I just reread it not very long ago. Like
Yeah.
probably the last month. I went, oh yeah, yeah, that's good. Why aren't I talking about that? So I'm curious, do you have any of your own experiences with the One Command? Like anything that you were able
Well,
to shift or manifest?
yes. I mean, this is crazy. It wasn't about money, but I knew the time frame because I was in the process of getting divorced.
Yeah,
And so, what I was commanding at that time was just a peaceful, easy divorce, an easy transition for all 3 of us, myself, my ex husband, and my daughter, and for it to be amicable, no problems, no fighting. And everything really did fall into place because if you remember 2008, there was that
yes,
financial collapse.
yes,
Well, I put my house on the market in February of 2008. And I wasn't really getting many people that were looking to pay the price that I was asking.
yeah,
And anyway, we closed on the house, I want to say in the very beginning of August in 2008. And we really made a killing on the house. Like
wow,
we tripled our money. And I think it was September or October of 2008, maybe
yeah,
September, when everything fell apart.
yeah,
And I really honestly believed that doing the one command and visualizing how I wanted this whole transition to play out
mm-hmm,
played out exactly because there was no, everything was smooth sailing, smooth
right,
sailing. I found a place to live. My ex husband, I helped him find a house upstate New York. My daughter had an easy transition. Like it just was a beautiful separation.
yeah,
And we remain really good friends until today. And I really do owe it to that whole process because that's what I was looking to manifest. And it wasn't even about money, it was about making this transition peaceful and easy as possible. And that's the
right.
way it went.
Yeah, in alignment with your highest values, right?
Yes.
Honoring the love and the love that you guys created, your daughter, right? Like
Yes.
everything that y'all did. And so many people, they see that as a battle, and you sounds like you saw it as a transition, and holding that in the highest regard for each person that's where a lot of people, when they're dealing with manifestation, they're always trying to get right in spite of, right? Oh, there's a divorce. I just don't want there to be fighting. And you actually framed it the perfect way. I don't know how we have a loving, peaceful transition, right? I don't know how we get everything we need out of the house. And you released it. And there was still work to do, but
Yes.
wasn't it nice having that burden or that tension inside?
Yes, it was like an inner knowing that I was peaceful, that
Yeah.
it was going to all work out. And I worked in New York City and I used to ride the Long Island Railroad. And there was a woman that I used to ride the train with who worked for Morgan Stanley. And
Mm-hmm.
she told me that there's going to be a major financial crash. It's
Yeah.
coming. We know about it. They were aware of it, but it wasn't out there yet. Like there was
Right.
no, and she was also in the process of selling her home and she was going to live upstate. And she kept saying, just make sure you sell it quick, get anything you could get for it. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay. And I half believed her because I knew nothing about the financial
Right.
industry. So, I was just listening and yesing her, but she was right. And
Mm-hmm.
so the whole thing just played out beautifully. But
Yeah.
what I want you to do, Kathryn, is if you could explain to the audience like what the process is. And then if at the end, if you can do obviously if anyone's listening and driving, you have to play
Mm-hmm.
it later.
Yeah.
But
We'll do a little theta ride like we used to do
yes,
when we would have people at the park. So this is a two-part process. First, there is the statement that is designed to bypass your logical thinking. And a lot of people go, well, an affirmation is, I now have exactly what I want. Everything's working out perfectly. And then when you say that, the tension rises, right? Because your logical mind goes, yeah, but what if? And the fear and anxiety based on your programming and your conditioning that says things don't ever work out for me, right? This is a divorce. It's supposed to be hard. What if, right? And so I'm literally tensing up my body, right? So we'll have that physical reaction and our brain is kind of going like this. So when we start with, hey, I've made a decision that I want a peaceful divorce. If it's okay, I'm going to use yours. And we
sure.
could even use the house. Okay. We'll use the house because a lot
Okay.
of people are worried about money and feeling powerless about the financial situation right now. I want to reassure everybody that no matter what's happening in the outer world, it's not as powerful as your inner world, the power of your intention, the decision, and your commitment to holding the space for it. It's not as powerful. Your power is much greater. Okay. So let's say we want to sell the house and everybody's telling you, oh no, it's going to be a terrible time. Get whatever it is. And you know how much you want to get. So the one command would be, I don't know how my house easily sells for X amount of dollars. I only know it does now because in the subconscious mind, there's only now, and I am fulfilled. So first is it creates a pause because we really can't know exactly how it's going to happen. We only know what we want it to turn out, how we want it to turn out. The other part is, we're stating clearly the result that we want. A lot of people attach a lot of stories, a lot of conditions, a lot of that, but let's just say what you want simply and in a positive way. And then the third, and I am fulfilled. This is so powerful because a lot of people try to go for happiness or joy, but fulfillment is the most powerful state because this is when you go through your journey and you look back and you can say, oh, it couldn't have happened any other way. I'm so grateful for every twist and turn and all the learning, right? And so there's natural growth that comes from that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you're already presupposing growth, gratitude, right? And all the conditions aligning to your highest values. All that's built in to that last phrase. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what you did. I want This is how it's going to be, and I want to be fulfilled. And then that is one, how not only how you're looking at it now, but when you look to it to the future, right? Fulfillment. And you hear people today talk about, oh, you have to have a new identity. So you've got to create from the future as if you're looking back. And so when you say, and I am fulfilled, that's what you've just done. It's magic. It works on all these levels. And if you did nothing but make that statement when you were thinking about what it is that you want to create, you would start seeing changes in your day, in your outcomes immediately. Okay, so the statement alone. The second part is right now we are in ordinary thinking, and it's called, we have different levels of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And when we hear about vibration, it is the different levels of our brain waves. Okay, I'm not going to go into all the numbers right now, but I just want to think more in terms of like when we're thinking about different levels of consciousness, like if we're going to imagine a flashlight. Okay, when we're in our ordinary thinking mind, we're in what's called the beta brain. And at any given point, we can only be consciously aware of 7 to 9 things at any given moment. Okay. And so that's very much like if you had a flashlight and you were shining this out and you were looking at just the base of the flashlight, it'd be very narrow. You might get a little light on the ground, right around you. It might illuminate your face, but you really wouldn't be able to see that much. You could just see a little more.
Right.
Well, your filter of reality, when we're looking through beta, okay, when we're looking through beta, it's like looking through a pinhole, okay, because we have to delete so much information, and what we see is based on our past decisions and our conditioning, what we believe to be possible, right? What we believe to be permissible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so that eliminates a lot. Okay. That's already operating at one level of consciousness. When you close your eyes and then you just start to kind of visualize, like if you just imagined the picture of your old house,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody, there's a house you used to live in that you loved. Imagine that house. And then initially you might have had to say house address. And then you can picture, visualize, or imagine that house. And then you could imagine walking through the rooms. You could maybe imagine being, looking above like you're a drone, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could imagine that house at different ages of your life. When you're starting to imagine, your brain waves start to go lower and slower, and that's alpha. And it's very impressive, and it's easy when we're first thinking about what we want, we're dropping into this lower alpha brainwave because we're imagining. Okay. Like, oh, I've got to get this sold. And then you're thinking about everything in beta, oh, everything needs to happen, and you get overwhelmed, right? But then if you dropped and you said, well, here's the result I want. Oh, yeah, there we are. We're happy. We're packed up. We're moving out. Oh, big hug as we leave. Oh, that's good. And I've got a check in my purse. I love that, right? Yeah, that's good. If you did nothing but imagine that, you would start getting some effects, but you have to consistently imagine it over and over and over again to impress your subconscious mind. And then you have to consciously align your emotions to that image. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I used to play a game called When I Win the Lottery. Anybody play that game? That's still one of my favorites. I could not imagine winning the lottery without running into some problem like within 30 seconds. Like, what do I do? Do I get a lawyer? Am I going to get the gas money to go down there? Do I tell my family? Do I not tell my family? Where are we going to go shopping? Oh, how do I'm going to manage this? How much do I have to give away? Right. All of that. It took me years to be able to imagine that, just to having a beautiful day, the day I won the lottery, because my conditioning, right? So your imagination can even trick you when you're in alpha. So when you're initially, relaxing and you've got your eyes closed, you're starting to settle down and your eyes are still and they're kind of looking down. If at night and you are thinking about your day and you're following Neville Goddard, he says just before you go to sleep and you're super relaxed, your eyes are rolling up slightly. And he says, you're going to act as if, live in the vision fulfilled. Excuse me. You're going to live in the vision fulfilled. And you go, oh yeah, it's fulfilled. And then you're going to get it. And there's no bypass. So he would always say, and a lot of the masters would say, wait until you're in that almost kind of sleep state. And then you're supposed to visualize all this stuff. But I have ADHD and I start ruminating and my brain's activated and I want to plan everything out, right? I want to go to the computer and make business plans. So that would not work for me, or a lot of people would pass out, right? But if we can do this, if as a hypnotherapist, I could take people into theta by simply having them close their eyes and just softly roll your eyes up as if you're trying to look up through the top of your head. Mm-hmm. The minute you do that, all the programs that are running in your neurology come to a pause. And there's a stillness. So just with your eyes closed, roll your eyes up. Couple of belly breaths. And then now just relax your eyes again. You may have noticed it was kind of quiet, but then it was like, if you've ever tried to meditate, you go, what am I doing? How long did I do this? Do I roll? Am I doing this right? So we still have to train our mind to be quiet. But when we do that, we're adding a visualization of going up a pole of light so that we can break through the darkness into the light. We do that in the 6-step meditation. So as you do that, what happens is these instructions, this meditation that we teach, engages your mind so that you can allow yourself to be in theta. And then when we get to the point that we can state the one command, you can say it out loud or silently. You're in theta, you make that statement and immediately relax. And what happens is everything's paused. It's like the gate opens for new information of your subconscious mind. The doors are opening. It says, what are we doing? It brings us back to when we were like children and we were just absorbing information without judgment. Mm-hmm. And so then we make the command, in the statement, we also, in the 6S process, part of it is we expand to an idea greater than itself that serves more good in its fulfillment. That is what aligns it to your highest and truest values. So like when you wanted a house sold, you weren't just thinking about yourself. You were thinking about your daughter, your husband, your career, your life, and everybody that your life touched, right?
Yeah.
Getting through this, and it served more good. And then the people coming into the house, their good is served. They're coming into a home that was, filled with love and a high intention and greater vibration, right? Yes. And then as we always bring in gratitude. So this is kind of like collapsing and bringing together everything that you've been taught, but it's bringing it in the most simplest way. Like we hear, be in gratitude. So when we're coming back down, we're visualizing coming back down into our body, we're coming back into a field of gratitude and appreciation. Why? Because that's one of the highest vibrational levels to be at, right? And then we just allow a moment to allow everything to release, come back in, and then we always think about what it was that we were commanding for and what we knew before and what we know now. And then we was going to taking inspired action. So that's the breakdown. I have a weekly call where I walk people through this, and then I will actually send you a little audio so that people can go through this themselves if you want to share it with your audience.
Yes,
will that work?
Great. Yes.
Okay. So already just me describing it, you felt your state changed, you were relaxed, you might have even felt more expanded. And people ask, how many times do you do this? Well, what happens is you do this you're training your brain for this to be the way that you make change. This is where how you start seeking that greater solution instantly. So your intuition starts improving because you're taking control of everything that you want to create in your life and improving the circumstances. You're taking that ownership. Nobody can ever let you down again. So you find that a lot of your relationships start improving, or difficult ones just kind of start naturally dissolving away because you're going into this meditative state for like less than 3 to 5 minutes. The health benefits: your heart improves, your brain function improves, you're a little more optimistic, and you're able to flow a little more through the day.
Yeah.
So we've seen so many amazing techniques. I wanted to share one more little thing.
Sure.
You said it, and I had noticed this too right away. You said, as you were going through that situation, like your divorce and selling the house, which were two big, very stressful things with a lot of unknowns, right? And what you did know was tough, right? But you had peace.
Mm-hmm.
So many times since I've learned the one command, and especially when with Asar and I were starting the business, and we'd run up into cash flow, or there'd be extra expenses or something. And I would so many times go, it is so weird. I know we should maybe be worrying or being upset about this, but I feel peaceful. Is there something wrong with this that we feel okay? There's no evidence at all, right? And she'd say, something's about to come in. It always does. It always will, right? We don't know how our bills are met, right? And it was the funniest thing. One day I said, we were a little short, and I said, we're getting an extra $1,000. She said, how do you know? I said, I don't know. This just came in. We got an extra $1,000 coming in, which was what we literally needed, like by tomorrow, kind of thing. And I got a call from hotels.com from a conference that we had done 2 years earlier. And I'd made a complaint about the room. And they said, we've been trying to get a hold of you. We have $1,000 for you. How do you like to get that?
ASAP, please.
Yeah, right now. But it just, and so the habit of worry and anxiety and even shame and blame, right? All that habit of thought starts dissolving, and you start developing this new habit of belief and confidence.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it worked for me.
Yeah, it does. So let's go on purpose. Let's go ahead and create something. And what I want to invite your audience members who are listening to this to be sure and comment what they commanded for, and to come back and write down when they get the result. Okay?
Okay.
Is that all right with you?
Yes, perfect, Kathryn.
All right.
Thank you.
Now, I know I talked a lot. Before we do that, do you have any questions, or do you have any questions that you think your audience might have that I could clarify?
Well, yes, because your community on Skool, I said how they could find you, but if you could just touch on what that community is all about. So
Okay.
and then we'll do the one command.
Well, the community is based on what I wanted when I was in my manifesting journey, because I was a student of it. I had learned the technique, and I wanted to have a group of people that I could be with while I was learning how to do a particular technique. I had an incredible experience with Asar at that first class she taught in Dallas, and it was a circle. And in that circle, people were like, some people were literally crying because they had never said out loud what they wanted and felt safe saying their true desire.
Wow.
Some other people were getting all high, like when you go, you know what, I want my castle, I want the VR, I want this, that, and the other, and it's going to be this. And mine was pretty simple. I wanted to be in a group of people, share my gifts, and make a big difference, and that be my full-time living. And I was working in apartments, and I didn't even have my own place to live, so I wanted my own place. And that was my command. I don't know how. I have an amazing circle of people that I get to work with, grow with, and serve at the highest level. I only know I do now, and I am fulfilled. And everybody said, Kathryn, that's too little. That's not enough. And I go, that's pretty big to me, because to me that looked like living in a home, having having my classes, having a circle.
Yes.
And 6 months later, I was able to leave the job. I was in a house. I was hosting circles at my house. People started getting amazing results. And it was a community where I could help develop, but also one that as they took additional training, they had a place to be loved and nurtured. And so that started back in Dallas. And then at one point, I had taught something like 750 people how to have their own circle, which I will be teaching again.
Wow.
And we had them all over the world. So what we're doing with the Skool community is every week we have a manifesting an abundance circle that we meet on Zoom, so that we can come together, align to each other's, whatever it is that they want to attract, create, or manifest. And we can be in enthusiastic support, but then we have a place to share our wins, which that was something I was always missing too. Like, oh, this great thing happened. You tell your friends and family, and they go, yeah, that's nice. And you go, you don't know how many dragons I slayed to get that. Right? You don't know how big a deal that is. And nobody really understood. So I wanted a community where people could really understand each other,
Yeah.
and what it takes to break through out of your old identity and your old paradigm into that greater way. So I have free classes, I have some webinars, and I'm going to be introducing some paid traffic, paid classes, like I'm relaunching Commanding Wealth as a 90-day program. That's a group coaching program in June. And I'm very excited because it's all been redesigned, because we're in a whole new world now.
Mm-hmm.
Everything we said could happen 15 years ago is here. And now we've got to navigate at a higher level, and we've got to step up in a more empowered way. And so everything's being revamped. So most of my people are solo business owners, small business owners, but a lot of people, they're just at that time of life, they're just sick of the hustle and grind, and they want to recreate their life according to their highest values.
Right.
And so that's what it's about. And it is a free community. And I think we're building something really special right now.
I love it. I love going in there. I love the presentations that you give. So I will put the link to that and to your website in the show notes,
Okay.
and also where they can find you on social media as well.
Yeah, I'll send that to you. Right now, at the time of this recording, probably by the time other people find us, my social media will be all up, because it's all getting revamped. But if you can just look for my name, Kathryn Perry, or Kathryn Perry Coaching Services, you'll be able to find me.
Okay, great.
Anything. So,
okay. Thank
all
you,
right.
Kathryn. I'm
So,
ready. I don't
all
know
right.
about
So
everybody else.
so we're going to settle in. If you need to take a drink of water, I want you to think about something and we're going to focus on one thing. Let's not confuse the subconscious mind. One
Okay.
thing, and it's something that when it happens, you absolutely know it happened. Okay, that was because of this command. All right. So think about what it is you want to attract, create, or manifest, how you know you'll have it. And then think about any concerns or considerations about why you think you might not be able to get it, or why it could be hard, or why it must be unrealistic. Just notice what feelings around it. Okay, we got it. Now just close your eyes, and we're just going to take a little cleansing breath in through our nose, out through our mouth, and then just allow yourself to get centered into your body, and just allow your body to be supported at wherever you're sitting or laying down listening to this. And now just allow the energy from your environment to start to come in to support you. And I like to imagine that my feet are on the ground, and I have earth energy coming up through my feet, into my knees, into my hips, up my spine, through my shoulders, into my elbows and my fingertips. And I just allow my body to be supported by this creative life force energy. Now bring your attention to your heart. And first, just become aware of the love in your heart. Just let it light up. And allow that light to expand. And in the center of that light, let's place your intention of what it is that you said you want to attract, create, or manifest. By the way, there's nothing too big, nothing too small. And we're just going to hold that in the light. Lift your chin up slightly. With your eyes closed. I'm going to invite you to roll your eyes up. And just imagine that there's this pole of light that's connected to you. And it's going down your spine. And now you're just going to send your consciousness up, up, up that pole of light. Up above where you are right now, above your city, your state, your country. Soon you're popping out of the Earth's atmosphere, and the higher you go, the faster you go. And soon you find yourself in the velvety black void of space. Eyes are still up. Break through the darkness into the light of pure, open potential. You're going to repeat after me, either silently or out loud. I don't know how. And then state what you want. I only know, I do now, and I am fulfilled. Now let your eyes relax. Let that expand out to an idea even greater that serves more good in its fulfillment. Just let it go. It's none of your business how the universe brings this into your reality and materializes it into your life. Your job is now, with your eyes relaxed, feel yourself coming back down into your body. And as you're coming in, there's this field of gratitude. And you're coming back in and you're aligning to that love in your heart, and you're settling back into your body. And as you do that, you're noticing that your energy starts releasing and unwinding all the old beliefs and programs. What's happening? You're literally unwinding and releasing at the DNA level all the old family programming and dynamic. You're releasing at the subconscious level, the physical level, emotional. Unwind, unwind, unwind. And now just allow everything to start integrating, rewinding. Bringing your attention back to your heart. Now, before you open your eyes, think about the thing that you commanded for. And what do you know now that you didn't know before? What feels possible? And if you have pen and paper, you can open your eyes and you can make a quick note, because you may be getting an idea about, hey, do this, take this action. Stay in it for a minute. Maybe you said, why did I think it was so hard? It's done. It's easy, right? Whatever comes up. And we've gone through the 6 steps of the one command process. And then there is the 7th step. And that's aligned, inspired action. So you're going to get an idea to do something. Be prepared to say yes. That's all luck is. Preparation of saying yes to opportunity, right? That's all luck is. So then you'll just get an idea to do that. And there may be a pause, but it can be something as little as, hey, I need to get my desk cleaned off, get a place ready to see a client. I mean, make a list of who I want to call, right? But take action as quickly as possible associated with what you commanded. Okay.
Yes.
Whew. I'm going to zip
Kathryn,
everybody up. You're very open. I'm going to zip up your energy. Do you mind sharing what you experienced?
so very relaxed. And I have this big sense of believing in this program because of the experience I talked about,
Yeah.
but I haven't been utilizing it as often as I used to. And so when I got back into your community on Skool, it's been reigniting a lot of that desire to get back into it. And that's
Right.
why I'm was super excited that you agreed to come on to the podcast. So I just had this sense of knowing that, or feeling very confident in getting what it is that I want.
Yeah.
And
And you can do this with anything, with your, we talk about money a lot because that's the first everybody's first concern when they want to do
yes,
something. Relationships are transformed. You sold your house with it. We've had people have incredible health results using the one
oh,
commanding for their
yeah,
divine health.
yeah, that's an area that I may want to go to next, is with my
Yeah.
house.
Yeah. We always had a vision for a book called Commanding Health, but we're not health experts. So we didn't really feel like we could authentically do it.
Oh,
And I cannot make this claim. The FDA, I cannot make this claim in my marketing. Okay. I'm just going to tell you guys, I'm just going to tell you that in 3 different classes over the years, people have come to the class in a wheelchair and walked out. I had a woman that had been in a chair for years. And first, I saw her transfer around we were in an Airbnb, and I saw her move herself, and I didn't think anything when she was sitting in the chair, but said, okay, buddy, it's time to come in. And I was expecting her to get back into her wheelchair, and she walked to the sofa. And I said, have you always been able to walk a little bit? She said, no. And she'd been in it for years. It had been an auto accident. And she walked off the airplane to her husband, who she had not told that she had had that happen. She did go
wow,
ahead and take some physical therapy so she could re-strengthen her muscles and everything. But like, I can't put that in my marketing, but I
yeah,
can tell you that that kind of stuff has happened.
wow, that's incredible. I want you to go back for 1 second. Talk about the theta brain waves
Okay.
again. Give me a little bit more information on that.
Okay. The theta brainwave is where we are actually in more of the observer mode. We're not in our thinking mind. We're not imagining. We're in this, it's a longer, slower brainwave. And so, like beta, following my hand, is like up and down, very close. Alpha is a softer wave, but beta is like a bigger loop,
Oh,
right? And so, it's softer, you're more expanded, and when you're in that state, you're able to instantly accept new programming and commands. We call it the command because your subconscious mind wants to be told what to do. We have the reticular activating system, you've heard of that, and we say,
yeah.
look for a blue car. We don't say, I hope I see a blue car today. I wish I saw a blue car. You're telling it, blue cars are here. Draw my attention to that, right? So we're doing that with the theta brainwave. The body's much more relaxed, it's more receptive, and it just accepts it. And there's no story attached to it. But what may come up is a consideration where, like, if you said, oh, I don't know how my house is sold quickly. Well, you could have sold your house for 200,000 below market the next day, right? But you wanted the highest and best. It said, but it might take a long time. So you would say, well, I don't know how my home is sold quickly at top dollar, right?
Right.
So then there's this new feedback loop asking for information so that it can create it, not to oppose it and protect you.
Got it.
Very different mindset.
Right.
So it puts kind of everything in service. And so when you're in a lower level brainwave, you're at a higher level of consciousness. Everybody's talking about we want to shift our vibration. If you read Law of Attraction and, listen to all this, they go, match the vibe, right? Well, you're coming into the vibration of pure creativity. And that's where you want to create it from, without attachment. And that's what you're able to do with theta.
And when you roll your eyes up, that's how you're getting into.
Yeah, because at night we're mechanically driving the brain to go into theta, right?
Right.
And so when you roll your eyes up, the brain goes relaxed.
Right.
And you're kind of at the edge of dreaming, right? And it's more like if you've done the highway hypnosis, you're driving and you're like, you don't know how you got there.
Yes.
Once you got there, suddenly you're like, oh, wait, there's a world out here. Wait.
Yes.
You're being completely taken care of and protected, but you're in the higher level of thinking, right? You're in that, when you're in your higher self, you're in that higher level of consciousness. And so you are co-creating with your higher self right then. And the conversation is pure vibration.
Right.
And that's what I can tell you in a short time about theta. But does that make sense?
Yes, it does. It does.
Okay, good.
Thank you, Kathryn.
Beautiful.
Any final thoughts before you go?
Try the one command on everything. Play with it. And even if you think you're doing it wrong, keep doing it. I did it wrong for the first year and manifested the most amazing stuff, right? And then I learned, the more I learned. But just play with it, try it out, and please join the group so that we can answer any questions and you can get the support that you need. But to every person here, you are a creator. You're already a master. That's what my master teacher told me when I really understood that I'm a master and I have the right to create the kind of life that I want. And I deserve every happiness. And when I really embrace that, everything changed. And I want to invite you to embrace the same thing.
Thank you. Is the book still in publication?
It's still in publication. You can find it right now on Amazon, and I believe Asara has copies in. Asara Lovejoy, who's the creator, her website is just simply Asara, ASARA.com.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Kathryn. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you as well.